Is the company working on any commercial projects?
We have a lot of know-how.
We will take just a quick peek.
The know-how is classified.
They are out of the market altogether.
We have managed to hold on to the core team.
How did it all start in 2014?
The pace of our development has not been affected much by it.
You have new achievements by the end of 2020.
I do not remember all the staff by patronymic name anymore.
How do you see your company in 5 and 10 years? Nadezhda, my greetings to you. Here we are again as your guests. We have been pleasantly surprised by the changes that have taken place in the company. We arrived at the new office, which is really big in size. We congratulate you on that.
Thank you very much. We always try to surprise someone with something because our job is not only to design, but also to deliver good news and positive emotions.
That is what you are good at.
We are trying it.
You have been helping Anatoli for many years, being and working with him side by side. The office we have now, the scale of the company, is a great achievement. We would like to know if you remember those moments when it all started. In 2014, 2015, 2016 years when the first team of your engineering company was being formed. Do you remember that first office and the formative stages you went through to where you are now?
Yes, of course there are. We had our first office in Minsk on Zemkovia Street. We had one floor and it was quite small. The building is so small there. That is where the backbone of our engineering company was formed. Many of the employees who joined us then are still working successfully today and fulfilling their tasks. But sometimes it happens that a much smaller team can do a lot more. Our small team very quickly prepared for the first InnoTrans in Berlin. Just in 3 months, we made the first transport means, not a mock-up, but a working vehicle.
It was an industrial prototype.
The industrial prototype, of course. We are still perfecting it. For 5 years, we have been keeping such perfection in finding new, exclusive solutions, and it should never stop. We have changed several offices in Minsk and finally found our site, where we are with you now. Not only does this site now fully meet all of our needs, but it also gives us the opportunity to grow for at least 2 years to come.
So, the ground has been laid for the prospect of further development and scaling. Nadezhda, am I correct in assuming that the entire building, which now houses the engineering company, is wholly owned by us?
Yes, of course there are.
Are all the office spaces used only by your team, or are there other companies present on the premises?
No other companies. We use the premises only for our team. That has always been a problem for us when we had to rent premises because we have so much know-how. We have a lot of secret developments that we would like to throw a dark veil over.
Under the veil of secrecy.
Yes, they are under a seal of secrecy. When there are other companies in the building or on the premises, you cannot always be sure that everything is protected. It is dulling your vigilance. You have seen that person somewhere. Maybe he or she might walk into the office, and you will not always notice that it is not our staff member. When we are here alone, we see strangers from a distance, even though there are so many of us. I can honestly tell you that I do not remember all the staff by patronymic name anymore. I do remember almost all of them by their first name, but I do not remember all of them by patronymic.
What is the current number of employees at the engineering company?
You know, that last year was pretty tough, and we have reformatted a little bit in the new year. We have had some changes in the structure of the company. We now have a headcount of 650. We lost a little bit in the difficult year of 2020, and I think that is very good. We have managed to hold on to the core team.
Definitely. It is a very good indicator, because if we take the world situation, which in 2020 touched the big companies, a lot of them not only did not survive the crisis, but they left the market altogether. As for the UST company, not only did you survive the crisis, but you also took a step forward. You have new achievements by the end of 2020.
Yes, of course there are. We have gone very far in terms of engineering, certification, construction. I can say that 2020 has slowed things down a little bit and given us an opportunity to be more pedantic and take things more seriously. But it did not have much effect on the pace of our development.
That is very good. I want to point out that it is very professional to optimize certain processes in a crisis situation. That is the opinion of many supporters of the UST technology. You are doing a very professional job, and we are very happy about it. As far as safety is concerned, I would like to make the following remark on my own behalf. We are very impressed by the fact that there is no easy way to enter the production site, the Eco Techno Park, and the company office. It is a fingerprint entry. Even if you get on the premises and want to have lunch in the communal canteen, which is on the office premises, you cannot just get in there easily either. This shows a professional approach and that the company has an eye for safety, and shows that the company values what it does.
Yes, we work very hard to maintain the internal safety of our employees.
You said that the first team had been very small. Over that time, you have grown to a company of almost 1,000. Does the company currently employ only Belarusians? Or are there any representatives of other countries?
We employ many people from Russia, Ukraine, lots of Belarusians work here, and there are some people from Kazakhstan. We have specialists from almost all CIS countries. We cannot say that only Belarusians can cover all our needs. In metal construction, the best specialist remained in Ukraine because there were many metal construction plants in Ukraine. That is why we badly need the specialists from there. They come and take very good positions in the company and work very fruitfully. If you take Belarusians, they are very good mechanical engineers. There are lots of Russians among estimators who calculate structures because there is a very good school, good universities in Russia where specialists studied at or worked in this industry. We are a very multinational company, and we always say that it does not matter where a person comes from. The main thing is how good he or she is as a specialist.
Nadezhda, what key areas of your company that are handled by such a large international team would you point out?
There are lots of areas, but there are 5 large ones. This is the design of buildings and facilities, which includes anchor and intermediate supports, depots, train stations, and everything related to infrastructure. There is design of the track structure. It is a separate big area because there are so many options and so many complex units. Anchor units are quite complex because there are very large forces that have to be correctly apportioned, correctly calculated. As Anatoli says, we are building transport for 100 years. That is why we should take that very seriously. There is the design of transport means. That is also a very big area. There is a very big team working there. They are engaged in a very interesting task, not just improving the vehicles we have, but they come up with new concepts, new variants of vehicles. They have a lot of challenges, and all of them are very interesting. There is a separate area, the automation of the track structure and the transport complex. It is also a very complicated task. There are few companies in the world that develop automation themselves. Here, we are not just talking about the facts that transport means should be fully controlled and safe in riding, but also about the vehicle complex that takes the vehicle. The transport complex refers to train stations, where there are crowds of people and where there may be abnormal situations. It all should be managed properly. Loads, transportation, and logistics should be calculated correctly. That is, we also do this within the company ourselves. Another important area is certification. Certification of transport means transport systems, control systems, and everything we do. So I would point out these 5 areas.
I think we will have the opportunity to talk to the heads of those areas, and our audience will be interested to hear how it all comes to fruition in detail.
I'm sure these managers will be able to give a lot of interesting information. But I can tell you right away that this information will be very well sifted for no important secrets to inadvertently come out.
We are well aware of how confidential this information is, so we will take just a quick peek and get to know how it all happens.
Of course.
Is the company currently working on any commercial projects? Understanding the point of confidentiality, please do not reveal any names, countries, or regions. In general, are there any such orders? Orders that are commercial in nature?
Yes, of course there are. There are 2 commercial proposals in progress right now that I think will be implemented in the near future. There are also several projects that are in the process of being signed.
This news is very joyful, both for the supporters of the technology and for those who are following in its development. I have noticed that you have a very young team, a lot of young ambitious guys who are 30 to 35 years old.
The average age of your staff is 33 to 37 years old.
In this regard, I would like to ask you the following question. Does the company have an incentive system? And if so, what is it?
The incentive system is a very complicated thing, and it's very easy to implement on the one hand because you understand the criteria, how to evaluate an employee, what you want to get from him or her. But the incentive system kills the ability to create to some extent. And since we are now engaged in the innovative product, the ability to invent, to fantasize, cannot work within any kind of framework. This is where we make the gradation very clear. Of course, we have a lot of positions that can work within the framework, such as a cleaning manager. They ask to be called that, and we do because we want to work in clean rooms. You can build a clear incentive system there, and we can clearly see how to evaluate it. If the office is clean, it is done well. If it is dirty, it's done poorly. But when a person comes up with something, it is impossible to approach it with any kind of framework, because he could do nothing for 2 days, and we will think that he is sitting there doing nothing, but his or her thought at that moment is working very well. And then he gives out a solution in 5 minutes that he could not have given out by doing some kind of routine work. So we are very flexible here, both in terms of evaluating the results and in terms of the process itself.
I agree that what you are doing is an absolutely creative process. In every area you are involved in, every employee should have a creative impulse.
Not everyone, but most of the staff. If everyone has ideological impulses, we will not be able to move forward, unfortunately.
Probably the biggest motivation for employees for many supporters of the technology is to be involved in a great cause. That is my subjective opinion. I believe that a sense of belonging to the fact that something new is being created, something that has never happened before, motivates most of your colleagues.
I'm also sure of that, and I can say that a lot of the employees are really our big supporters.
How do you see your company in 5 and 10 years?
I hope we will still have the opportunities to be involved with absolutely every employee in our company and every task that employee faces. In most companies that grow up to 5,000 plus, the directors are already out of touch with their daily routines. That is what I fear the most. I want to be directly involved in absolutely every decision and absolutely every process of our company. I think we will manage to keep this friendly team that we have now.
For our part, we would like to wish you such growth, such a scale, and we strongly believe that you will be able to cope with this scale. The first design bureau consisted of dozens of people. Now, there are hundreds, and soon there will be thousands. In the near future, the company will have its own institute, its own R&D center. You are making great strides towards it, and it will come true.
Thank you for such kind words. We are committed not to let down your hopes and aspirations.
Thank you.